So what happens in our brain when we feel anxious? And it's really interesting this, and it should change the way that you think about your anxiety, because when you're feeling anxious, the first thing we do is we think it's just all about us and that actually there's something wrong with us and everyone else is fine. But actually, once we learn what anxiety is a brain not being able to work out what's going to happen next. Our brains use very complicated maths, statistical learning, basically like predictive text on your phone. Predictive text, once you type a letter, tries to work out what the next letter's likely to be on the basis of how often one letter follows another. Your brain tries to work out what's going to happen next based on its previous experiences. And as soon as it can't work out what's going to happen next, we experience uncertainty, which we feel as anxiety. So anxiety is a normal response of a brain to uncertainty. So if you think about the world, it's so complex, isn't it? We've had the pandemic, we've had GCSEs or not, we've had A-levels or not. It's a really complicated world. It's really hard for our brain to work out what's going to happen in most situations in the 21st century. So that's why there's so much anxiety about, because it's a normal response of the brain to uncertainty. So when our brain can't work out what's going to happen, there's an area of it called the amygdala, which says, uh-oh, and we feel anxious. And we can't do anything about the fact that when our brain spots uncertainty, we feel anxious. But we can do something about the relationship we have with that anxiety. We can hide away and avoid the issue, but that's not going to make the anxiety go away. The way that we make the anxiety go away is that we, obviously, if it's a very dangerous situation, then the anxiety is telling us something really important. But generally, actually, stepping into doing the thing that is causing our kind of worry can help support our brain to understand that there's an answer, and we achieve the answer by stepping in to that new situation and learning in that new situation, because there's part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, that will teach the amygdala what not to be frightened of. So anxiety is a normal reaction that we all have. So what can we do when anxiety strikes immediately? How can we respond and build a skill that means we get a better relationship? Sounds a bit weird, but a better relationship with our anxiety. So we're not freaked out by it all the time. We just go, okay, my brain is obviously a bit worried about something. There's some change in the world that's going on. And notice my use of language there, my brain. Rather than I am anxious, I am noticing that I'm anxious. Put ourselves a one step distance. So when you're feeling anxious, what happens is, you often feel a tight tummy. You might feel a little bit sick. You kind of constantly having repetitive thoughts and things. We often think, don't we? This is me. Why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. No one else is feeling this way. Wrong. All human brains experience anxiety and uncertainty a lot. So the first thing we need to say to ourselves when anxiety strikes is common humanity. I am the same as other people. Other people are going through this experience right now. Second thing is we're aware and we accept we're feeling anxious. Third thing is, and this is a skill, just like the other two, just like common humanity, just like awareness and acceptance, kindly and curiously saying to ourselves, what was it that triggered that worry? What was it? Was it a thought about something that just happened? Was it a thought about what something's going to happen in the future? Was it a worry about a frown we got from a friend that we weren't expecting? There'll be something. And this is a skill, and it takes time to build that skill. When I say build, I mean literally build it. Connections between our thinking part of our brain up here and our emotional part of our brain, which is about level with our ears. And then finally, it's about being empathetic towards ourselves. Now that turns into a nice acronym, CAKE. So when we are feeling anxious, we should apply CAKE. Common humanity. This is an experience that everyone shares. This is something that all humans have. Awareness and acceptance of those feelings. Kindly, curiously searching for what might have triggered the anxiety while remaining kind and compassionate towards us. And it is a skill. It will take time to build. It takes about 5 or 6 weeks to build the structures in our head. But start practicing CAKE every time you feel anxious. So, maybe start next week with just in the mornings, just using a little notebook. If you find yourself feeling anxious, use C and A, and then kindly curious, just write down what might have triggered that anxiety. Initially, you may not be able to spot it. So slowly but surely, you'll be able to build your response to anxiety. And I wanted to reassure you that actually this process of developing cake as a response is something that improves and develops the more we work at it. So we know from psychological research that kids worry about 240 minutes a day. Adults worry about 100 minutes a day. There's still quite a lot of worry going on in an adult mind, but adult brains worry less because they've had more experiences. And the other thing that adult brains do a lot, and when we're younger, we tend not to do as much, is they talk to people about the things that are on their mind, and they use other people's prefrontal cortexes to help their emotional brains calm down. It's perfectly fine to seek the answer. If you can't spot what it was that made you feel anxious, talk to somebody close to you, someone you trust, and see if they can help you spot it. Use their prefrontal cortex to help emotionally regulate your brain. And that's fine. We're designed to do that. And that's one of the secret skills that adults have. They talk to people about those wobbly moments that they have. And they often hide those wobbly moments from kids because they don't want kids to see those wobbly moments, because they want to be that reassuring, caring figure. So it's really important that we understand that anxiety is a general human experience, and there's a response we can give, cake, rather than a reaction. Take care.